It's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone again, but this time it looks like a total flop. I mean, I've watched that trailer 1,000 times, and the only thing I can say is, did J.K. Rowling really give a thumbs up for this thing? Because this new series looks really whack, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why, because trust me, there's a lot to talk about. So HBO dropped their first trailer for the brand new Harry Potter series they're doing. It's gonna be 7 seasons, 1 book per season, and it's marketed as the most faithful version of the story ever put to screen. So the trailer starts with Hogwarts. It's looking familiar so far, except something feels really wrong right away. These colors are just all wrong. I mean, it's all dark gray and washed out. It's almost like someone turned the brightness all the way down, and I just gotta ask, what's this new trend with directors making everything all dark and gritty recently? And why bring it to Harry Potter? The original films had golden light and autumn colors, and we're talking about a movie from over 20 years ago, by the way. This new Philosopher's Stone trailer just looks cold and heavy. It's more like some serious drama than a wizarding school. Like, forgive me, but HBO could do way better than this. And then it gets even worse. I mean, when the cast list came out, I had no words. Blue-eyed Dominic McLaughlin as Harry, who is supposed to have green eyes, by the way. And then we got Arabella Stanton as Hermione, and Alistair Stout as Ron. The funny thing is, though, none of them even look like Daniel Radcliffe or Emma Watson or Rupert Grint. And let's not even get started with John Lithgow as Dumbledore, or Janet McTeer as McGonagall, or even Nick Frost as Hagrid. I mean, Nick Frost isn't even a giant. Bro literally looks like he's 5'7". Now, to be fair, that doesn't mean that they're bad actors necessarily. Like, I'm sure they'll do fine in the roles, but that's not really the point I'm trying to make here. One YouTuber even commented saying that this Harry Potter series just feels like watching new people move into your old house. And honestly, I'd have to agree. These faces are totally different, and the vibe is just all off. And really, no matter how hard you try, it doesn't feel like Harry Potter anymore. Radcliffe's Harry, Watson's Hermione, and Grint's Ron, they're the real thing. But as big as all that was, would you believe me if I said it still wasn't the thing that really set everything on fire? Papa Asaidu, a black British Ghanaian actor with a seriously impressive career, has been cast as Severus Snape, and he's got dreadlocks. Now, to understand why this one hits so hard, you need to understand what Snape actually means to this franchise. I mean, he's not just one of the many characters, he's the character. The Severus Snape. I mean, Alan Rickman spent 8 whole films building something so careful and devastating that to this day, we all still talk about it. And yeah, he wasn't the ultimate villain, but I mean, come on. He's probably the second most annoying character in the whole franchise. And the way Snape looked was a part of all of it. He had pale skin, greasy black hair, and dark circles under his eyes, and he had the look of someone who had been through things and carried every bit of it. And the books back all of this up. J.K. Rowling described Snape with all these same details: sallow skin, greasy black hair, and a hooked nose. And it's all tied to who Snape is. His first appearance tells his story before he even speaks. And to be honest, judging by his look in the first movie, I felt like he'd be the main villain of that. Anyways, when the new trailer showed a black actor playing Snape, with dreadlocks in some of the shots, the reaction really tore off in 2 directions at once. On the one hand, some people are upset that the physical descriptions in the books have been completely thrown out. On the other side, though, people started pointing out something that really made the situation even messier. In the story, James Potter and Sirius Black, who are Harry's dad and his godfather, basically the heroes of the flashback storyline, they spent years bullying young Snape. I mean, they knocked his books out of his hands, and they called him Snivelist in front of crowds and the students, and they even used their wands to string him upside down in the air while everyone laughed. I mean, they made his life completely miserable, and that backstory is what makes Snape a complicated character. Now look, I'm not calling it racism, but a black actor playing the role of Snape does carry a completely different meaning to those scenes. I mean, we're gonna watch Harry's beloved dad and his best mate bully a black student their age, and that's a pretty heavy thing to put on screen without addressing it. I mean, some people might want to overlook it, but really, it's not a tiny change. A black actor as Snape completely rewrites the emotional core of Snape's whole story. I mean, his suffering under the Marauders is always there to build sympathy, with Lily Evans being the only good thing in Snape's whole world. Now, if we add the racial tension on top of that, the whole meaning just changes. I mean, we all have to start to see it from the black kid angle, and none of J.K. Rowling's books really have that angle. Now imagine Harry Potter being told that his parents are the kindest and sweetest people, only for him to later find out that his dad had a black Severus Snape hanging from a tree. I wouldn't even be surprised if they start a whole conversation about the difference between dark wizards and black wizards. And just so you know, Papa Isedu, who had simply accepted the role and has done nothing wrong in any of this, has gotten racist death threats over all this. Now, to give it some credit, this new Harry Potter is actually a lot more book accurate, like they said, although that's not really an advantage here. Like, we see Harry at Muggle primary school being bullied before he even knows that magic even exists. And there are also the expanded herbology classes, as well as the history of magic classes. And there's even a blink and you'll miss a detail of Harry wearing a Quidditch jersey with Potter and the number 7 on the back, and that's taken right out of the books. However, to get why people are just so angry with this seemingly accurate trailer right now, we gotta go back to where Harry Potter first started in the films. Imagine this, it's November 2001, and a skinny kid with round glasses and a lightning bolt scar walks into a candlelit hall for the first time. And so did we. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was a whole world of its own. John Williams wrote the music for those first 3 movies, and that melody alone was enough to give me goosebumps every damn time. I mean, Hogwarts was basically its own character, and don't even get me started on the main cast. Like, every single role felt like the actor had been pulled straight out of the book. I mean, Richard Harris's Dumbledore was wise in a way that felt so real, and Maggie Smith played McGonagall perfectly, and even Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid was brilliant. I mean, an actual giant for that role. But the one who towered above everyone else was Alan Rickman. I mean, his Snape showed up in the very first film, and he owned every scene he was in. He was creepy, clever, and just impossible to ignore. He's the kind of character you hated, but just couldn't stop watching at the same time. The Chamber of Secrets came the next year, and it kept that same energy going. Kenneth Branagh showed up as the ridiculously full of himself Gilderoy Lockhart, and the Basilisk and the whole Heir of Slytherin mystery really kept you hooked, and everything stayed bright and exciting. It's like a really good bedtime story with a giant snake in it. Then, The Prisoner of Azkaban came along and added a bit more darkness to it all, with the Dementors, the Time Turners, and even the secrets about Harry's dad, but Hogwarts still felt like home, and even when Alfonso Cuarón changed the movie's look, it still went well. And then, when Goblet of Fire dropped in 2005, it gave us a gift that would still live on to this day. When Harry's name shot out of the goblet and Dumbledore found out, Michael Gambon literally grabbed Harry and basically threw him across the room. Normally, the book says that Dumbledore asked this calmly, but the movie went in the complete opposite direction. Order of the Phoenix gave us Dolores Umbridge, played by Imelda Staunton, and trust me, she might just be the most annoying villain in cinema history. Like, really. Props to her actor. Then, Half-Blood Prince started setting up Snape's real story, with Rickman quietly breaking hearts in every scene, dropping hints about the always moment that was still coming, and then finally, Deathly Hallows had the Battle of Hogwarts. And all that is what HBO has decided to take apart and start over. And so far, it's looking really bad. But let's leave the casting drama and the gloomy visuals aside, because there's a third reason that people are hating this new Harry Potter series, and honestly, it might actually be the most disturbing one of all, even though it's just one tiny detail. You see, the original Harry Potter movies are not just some old forgotten films in need of saving. They're still on TV every Christmas, and the merchandise alone is still pulling in ridiculous numbers. All 8 films are still totally watchable and totally beloved by everyone. And honestly, no one was really asking for a replacement. What we really wanted was something new, like a continuation or a story from a different corner of the wizarding world. Like, aside from the fact that we'll probably see new characters from the books, like Winky the House Elf and Ludo Bagman, there really is no difference between the OG Harry Potter and this new series. And besides that, the timing of this really says a lot. Fantastic Beasts is Warner Brothers' big attempt to keep the franchise alive through the prequels, and that fell apart over 3 films, with the third one crawling into cinemas in 2022, and that barely even made a dent. And even the most loyal fans had trouble defending that one. So clearly, the studio had a problem on its hands, and it needed to get the franchise back on track. So, an HBO series seemed like the best solution, but I doubt it's gonna help. Meanwhile, the faithful to the books angle comes with its own set of problems. Like, we've already spent 25 years making peace with what the movies changed, and in some instances, some of those changes became fan favorites. For instance, no one actually wants the Goblet of Fire scene done calmly. The completely unhinged, book-inaccurate version where Gammon screams in Harry's face became iconic because it was so wrong. I mean, it was chaotic, it was messy, and it was completely over the top, and we all loved it. So the big problem is, would this new Harry Potter series really live up to that? Could the Gen Z version give us the same feelings that we got 25 years ago? Or is this just going to be another round of the boring Fantastic Beasts movies? Well, I mean, J.K. Rowling gave the new series her full blessing, so I've got my hopes up and my expectations really high. The original Harry Potter films hit at a very specific moment in time. Kids grew up reading the books and then watching the films drop every couple of years, getting older alongside the characters as the stories grew darker and the stakes rose. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe was 11 years old when Sorcerer's Stone finished filming, and he was 21 when Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. The audience grew up with him step by step, and that's the whole reason those films hit as hard as they do. The HBO series just cannot do that. No trailer, casting announcement, or production budget can manufacture a decade of share going up. And the show can be faithful to the books, and it can have stunning visuals and genuinely great performances, and it might even have some truly brilliant moments, but what it cannot do, and what nothing ever can, is make you feel like you're 11 years old again sitting in the cinema for the first time. Every piece of backlash, like the Snape casting, or the washed out look, or the recast trio, or even the cash grab feel, each one alone is just a complaint. But stacked on top of each other, they start to tell a bigger story. A fan base that never asked for this, being handed a version of something that they love that exists mainly because the studio just needed to do something with its own property. This remake is really just a reminder that Harry Potter now belongs to a company, and not to the fans who grew up with it. At some point in the new series, the new Dumbledore is going to calmly ask Harry if he put his name in the Goblet of Fire, and that's the way the book was actually written after all. But somewhere, a whole generation of people is going to feel the ghost of that ridiculous, screaming, over-the-top Gambit moment that had absolutely no business being as beloved as it is. And that's the thing about the magic that nobody at HBO seems to have fully grasped. And look, you can rebuild the castle brick by brick, and you can put the right names on every door, and you can even follow the blueprint more carefully than anyone ever has, but at the end of the day, you'll still end up with something that just feels empty, because you can't just replace the OG Harry Potter series. And that's not because anything went technically wrong, but that's because everything that made the original impossible to replace was never written down anywhere. HBO's Harry Potter lands this Christmas in 2026, and more trailers are coming, and with that, the arguments aren't going anywhere, but I'm just not too impressed at all. It all just feels so wrong recreating the Harry Potter series. Why not just make a totally new storyline? Why not try expanding the franchise, like a 9th movie? If you found this video interesting, you might want to find out the exact moment that solved Professor Snape's paradox.